How's it going, friends? It has been a long time since I've done a fire pit video, and I really have like no business lighting this up on a 90-degree day, but the time is nigh, so I figure why not? We gotta get rid of these pizza boxes. The pandemic pizza boxes gotta go. Completely safe, trust me. It smells like freedom. That ought to do it. Let's get rid of that. That should be good enough. That smoke's probably gonna come right at me, isn't it? Don't say smoke follows beauty, because that's a line of crap. Anyway, how's it going? My name's JT, aka JT Nickel on Reddit, at ProDJKC on Twitter. I'd have to look at my YouTube channel to find out when's the last time I did an Ethereum focused, ETH finance focused video by the fire pit. And it's been a minute for sure. A lot has happened since then. I got this beautiful Get POAP hat, courtesy of my friend Colfax. And man, it's just been a whirlwind. I've got a new job in the space. I've been with the Grid Plus now for over a year. Just to squash any concerns about when we're getting stock again, I'll just say this as a gentle plug. Our supply chain woes will soon be over. And yes, you too can have a Lattice One. Anyway, why am I doing this video? I am so ecstatic for the merge is the biggest reason. This has been culmination of everything I was hoping for in the Ethereum space since literally Genesis. I was in Bitcoin early enough to remember, not mining it, but understanding what mining was. And then eventually it came to fruition just how much energy cost was associated with that. And I quickly left, Bitcoin behind. Man, look at that smoke. What if I take this guy right here? We go this way just for a second. We're good? There you go. So anyway, the proof of stake mechanism is going to go live soon. There's no date. The suggested idea is that it's going to be happening in mid-September. And this has been kind of a journey for everybody that's been involved in the Ethereum ecosystem for as long as I have been, along with a lot of my friends, to see this come to light. And I really feel like if you're paying attention to what people on Twitter are saying and the fears with it, there's a lot that's going to be coming with this. It's a big target. If you want to take a gamble with your ETH on these different forks and these big players in the mining industry that are promising to fork the chain, just be conscientious that I feel like a lot of that is going to be short-lived. I'm no expert. Just because I've been around a long time does not make me wise. If your extraction theory on crypto is to gain more monetary value, maybe there's a short-term play in there or whatnot. But something that really caught my interest and something I've been thinking for a very long time is the institutional adoption into regular retirement accounts. And I know we have this news with BlackRock joining Coinbase, and the initial premise is that they are going to be shooting for Bitcoin for custody of funds or something related to that. And what's exciting about that is you have this Kool-Aid man elephant in the room known as Bitcoin that is busting down that wall. And BlackRock is just huge. And I mean, it's got its own asset class that transcends all kinds of countries, all kinds of companies. And if you were to compare the amount of assets BlackRock controls to the world, I think they're like at least in the top 5, China, United States, and then this big, ginormous hedge fund or whatever you want to call it called BlackRock, which is really promising, I think, from the standpoint that a lot of the institutions are also very, very well connected to politicians and regulators. and to be able to entrust custody of funds or whatever they're going to do with Coinbase is incredible, let alone the fact that Facebook Meta is also involved. It's also kind of a careful what you wish for thing. So by that meaning, for instance, just look at housing, for instance, like the common person to buy a house right now is struggling against people that are associated with BlackRock, that are hedge funds that are snatching up real estate like crazy left and right, and then it gets sold as a premium because they have the pockets to withstand economic turmoil in a way the rest of us don't. But I also want to take it a step further in regards to Ethereum, is the influence that you never know, even with Bitcoin or whatever, an institution of that magnitude, especially in Ethereum, you have a lot of governance protocols, right? So these governance tokens, I'm wondering if they are eventually going to become an asset class that is interesting to institutions so they can farm and frame the narrative of where the protocols should go or where they should be. And globally thinking long term, am I bullish that BlackRock is breaking down the walls and opening up some doors, hopefully for some regulatory clarity for mom and pop to bring crypto assets into their portfolio? Yeah, you bet I am. If you look at even Brian Armstrong, when he was interviewed by Lex Friedman recently on the podcast, he basically said, I have institutional friends that are into retirement funds and all that, and they're only allocating about 1%. They'd like to be 20%, but the regulatory guidance isn't there yet. That's what I'm talking about. And so I think somebody as big as BlackRock jumping in and going, we want to at least open up this avenue for revenue into the crypto asset class is super promising for mom and pops, in terms of retirement portfolio, where they can take the protocols themselves and the influence that they can have. Literally, like if they're buying up huge swaths of different projects, Uniswap tokens, for instance, what if they were a dominant force in the governance of those protocols? Okay, so I was saying on Reddit, on ETH Finance, which is the home of where I like to be, that BlackRock loves ESG, and there was some blowback there, like ESG is, it is what it is. So basically, ESG is kind of like it's like a virtue signaling for companies to fall in line if they want to get BlackRock capital flowing into their companies. Energy, socio-economic, and then governance, right? So with the energy side of things, if they're breaking down the doors for Bitcoin and they're going to do that, I'm wondering if it's because there's enough crypto miners in Bitcoin that are green energy thinking that they will be an OTC or an over-the-counter kind of trading partner with Coinbase for BlackRock. So there's that. You know what's crazy good about Ethereum is it literally potentially within a month, we're going to be like totally ESG compliant without any hoops whatsoever to worry about like that. Entire protocol is ESG compliant, not just certain mining operations, okay? So I'm going a little bit fluid train of thought and if you bear with me, this is my thesis and what I'm thinking about right now. Ethereum is more like an index fund, like a basket of assets. Because the moment that Ethereum goes to proof of stake, every single token under that umbrella is also ESG compliant. 99.95% less energy production than previous just on the Ethereum network, and even more so if you compare it to the Bitcoin network overall. So yeah, am I like crazy bullish that that's a big, big gate? Even though they're saying right now, as of their announcement yesterday, that the initial push is for being able to settle Bitcoin. And I don't know necessarily, I mean, if it's like Coinbase custody, they must be talking about private keys, real Bitcoin, not like some kind of paper traded Bitcoin. Anyway, whatever the case, it's kind of incredible given the regulatory environment regarding ESG that Ethereum is going to be crossing that boundary very, very soon. And it's almost like they're getting the word out now with Coinbase. I have to think that like Ethereum and related assets and on Coinbase, they hold a ton of ERC20 and similar tokens across the network. Now, I'm no expert. I'm not, the ubiquitous, this is not financial advice, because it never is. I've been like totally wrong on a lot of stuff. I'm just looking at what's happening. And I think if you look at the macro environment, how much cash right now is just sitting on the sidelines. Tons and tons of cash sitting on the sidelines, it seems like. If we have a technical recession going on, we don't even know where the end of that journey is going to go. The time that comes when an ESG compliant blockchain, eventually such as Ethereum, comes on, with all the baskets of assets that are underneath it, it's almost like you've created an entirely new index fund, all within the umbrella of one blockchain ecosystem. I can't help but to think that if they can open wide the doors of institutional adoption with regulatory clarity, and they're starting with Coinbase, there may be other exchanges like Gemini or Kraken, at least in the United States, that also jump on board. That I'm wondering if that's going to be kind of like a real big turning point for the entire ecosystem. It's like a galvanizing moment, if you could, I think of it that way. And we got to have a successful merge. I think that if there's a delay, there may be a delay. We want to get those bugs fleshed out. Ethereum is notorious for fleshing out bugs and fixing things and forking things and improving things over the long stretch. I just can't help but to think that the day of an asset class like Ethereum is going to be just boring. It's going to be rudimentary for like a normal portfolio spread. Regardless of your age group, I think it's going to eventually move out of like a high risk category into something more medium and low risk. I don't know. I'm also wondering what like the people from Planner DAO think. Planner DAO is a nice little consortium of people that are certified financial planners. They were saying the same things. I did a conference in Kansas City. They were all saying the same things. We want to be able to do these things, but we can't because we don't have the regulatory clarity on what's appropriate for us, and we can't do custody of funds. We can't, our hands are kind of tied. I'm wondering what the CFPs and the CPAs out there are also saying about all these things. Oh, look. Hey, Winnie, come here. You want to say hi? What are you doing? Did you find the ground squirrel? We have a ground squirrel that we gave it's a long story. It doesn't really matter. Anyway, she smells smoke, and when she smells smoke, she's thinking there's going to be food going on that grill soon. Look at her look around. She's like, "When's a hot dog, Daddy?" Not right now, okay? All right. So anyway, I haven't done a YouTube video by the fire pit for a long time, and part of that is just I felt like for a very long time I always had things to say, but I was just kind of like, I don't need to say them. There's so many brilliant people on ETH Finance, and it's been really good. By the way, speaking of ETH Finance, the ETH Finance gems, doing the videos, giving voice to other people's writing has been really cool. I need to produce another video for the community with that. I have several of them saved. It's just time and everything that goes into producing those assets. I want to keep doing that. Big shout out to the Mavericks. The Mavericks Discord has really taken the reins. They've got a podcast now. They've had 4 or 5 episodes. If you're not an EVM holder, they've got some stuff going on in their Discord. Regardless if you hold an EVM or not, it's a great community resource. It's cool to drop in there and see what people are talking about. But this is pretty exciting. I hope you feel the same way too, at least I do. And, all the best to you. Cheers. Big hugs from Kansas City.